Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
All right, this is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I'm sitting here with Joel. Hey guys, what's up? Today, we're going to talk about A Quiet Place. Since the Quiet Place Part 2 is coming out, we thought we would go outside in the peaceful, quiet backyard and talk about A Quiet Place. So Joel, who's in this one?
So this one stars Emily Blunt. She was in The Devil Wears Prada, Edge of Tomorrow, and she is the new Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins Returns.
Yes.
As well as starring John Krasinski. You may know him from The Office as Jim. He was also in 13 Hours and also the new Jack Ryan show on Amazon.
Okay.
Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. This was directed by John Krasinski, who also directed A Quiet Place Part 2. He really doesn't have any other movies in his filmography for directing. And it was written by Brian Woods, who also wrote Haunt and A Quiet Place 2. Scott Beck, who also wrote Haunt and A Quiet Place 2. And also John Krasinski.
Who also wrote Haunt.
Not Haunt.
Okay.
Promised Land.
Oh,
it's that Matt Damon movie from a few years ago. And A Quiet Place 2. So,
all right. They are very quiet.
They are very quiet.
All right, so this one is in a post-apocalyptic world, a family is forced to live in silence while hiding from monsters with ultra-sensitive hearing.
Oh, man.
They can hear very good.
Yes. Ultra.
Ultra.
Good.
Ultra good. That's funny for like a description to have the word ultra in it.
It's very important.
It's very like professional.
Yes. Ultra.
Uber good hearing. Okay, so this one, pretty cool movie. Did you see this in theaters?
I did not.
Okay.
No, I saw this. I think I rented it when it came out. But yeah.
Okay. And had you heard of this movie or seen any trailers before? When it went to theaters, did you know about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew about it. Yeah. I had seen a couple trailers for it. It looked interesting. Just not something that I went to theaters to go see.
Okay.
So.
I had not even heard of this movie. I don't know what I was doing with my life. back
in 2018.
2018. I know what I was doing, I guess, but I thought this would have hit my radar, but it didn't.
Yeah,
it didn't until Bird Box came out, and I kept hearing comparisons.
Highly acclaimed Bird Box.
Yes, everybody loved that one. But I remember like getting all kinds of comparisons to the two movies, and thinking Bird Box was nothing special.
Yeah.
So, but I kept hearing A Quiet Place was better. So I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. John Krasinski, I like him.
Yeah.
So that drew me to it as well.
I think the thing that Bird Box had going for it that A Quiet Place didn't was the fact that people didn't have to leave their homes to see it. It was on
Yeah.
Netflix. They didn't have to pay money,
Yeah.
pay like $10 to go see it.
Yeah.
They could just put it on whenever. I don't think it would have done as well if it had actually had a theatrical release
Yeah.
as it did
Right.
being on Netflix. So
That's pretty valid. I think, especially with Sandra Bullock being in it, she's probably like the biggest name actor to ever be on a Netflix
original,
that time.
Yeah, at that time.
because
yeah.
now we have, Irishman,
Yeah,
which I don't know if you're gonna get bigger than that, but
Yeah.
at the time, Sandra Bullock was probably the biggest name actress to be on a Netflix original. So I think that got a lot of people's attention.
yeah.
So, and people, sometimes when you see a movie with an actor you really like, you're going to like the movie no matter what.
Yeah.
You go
Kinda
in there
biased
and kind
towards
of
that.
just, you're just blinded by the star power.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but anyways, I didn't watch this until I had already seen Bird Box. Tried to watch it, fell asleep about 20 minutes in because it was too quiet. And then I woke up for the last 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, I've seen the movie. So,
Missed
but I
the entire middle part, but
and I heard it was really good, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll get to it.
at some point.
And then A Quiet Place Part 2 is now coming out,
Yeah.
and we're doing this podcast. So, just recently watched it, and I stayed awake
the entire
through the
time.
whole thing.
Oh
yeah.
man,
Yep.
it's crazy.
Yeah. And I didn't even watch it on surround sound. You know?
I didn't either.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was pretty quiet
Yeah,
because I didn't have very high volume, but I still stayed awake.
man, that's crazy. It's crazy talk. It's just scared talk, not crazy talk.
Right? So with this one, what did you like about it? What were your positives?
I liked the acting. I loved the characters in the movie. The acting was really good for a movie that has very little dialogue.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of body language and
Yeah.
everything that they showed really well in this type of a environment, type of a situation like this, and that was really good. I don't know. I enjoyed the entire movie all the way from start to finish.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of the creature horror movies,
Yeah, me either.
but this one did it really well. You don't see the creatures that much. You do see them from time to time, but it's it's everything surrounding the creatures that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't see them kind of added more suspense to the
Right.
movie itself,
Right.
and I really like that.
Yeah.
Aspect
I
of it,
think
so.
I think the creatures became scary based off of how scared the characters were.
Mm-hmm.
I think you build that kind of fear
Yeah,
through the fear of the characters.
yeah.
Which then the audience is like, oh, I better be afraid of this.
They could come after me next.
Yeah, this theater's really loud. So, any other specific positives, or you just loved it? And
I can't think of the specifics themselves besides the acting and just the characters, the
Okay.
character dynamic
yeah,
of the family.
yeah,
And I mean, there's not a whole lot besides those characters
right.
in this entire movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the family is the cast.
Yeah, it's
of the
like
whole
a
movie,
5-person
so-
cast
Yeah.
or something. Yeah,
Yeah. And then the creatures, that's a couple. But yeah, so I liked the fact that we didn't see the creatures that much. I liked the fact that we didn't know a whole lot about the creatures
yeah,
in this movie. I liked that you basically see the movie through the eyes of these characters, and an average person isn't going to know the details of
Yeah.
of whatever is happening in their world,
right.
and I like that. I hope somewhere down the road, we actually do find out more about the creatures.
Yep.
But I'm glad we didn't in this movie. So
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I liked everything that you said, and I liked the dad and the daughter, their relationship. I thought that he, they had kind of a strained relationship after the little boy died in the beginning.
Yeah. Intense part of the
yeah.
starting out strong.
And I think, you can see that there was some friction between them, and he was really trying to, mend that relationship. And how he was doing that was by continuing to try to help her with a hearing aid.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, he had, like, a bunch out on the table that I guess didn't work. Or, didn't work for her. But that's kind of what his project was through the movie. And he was trying to radio out for help and things like that. But yeah, so I thought their relationship was very well acted and directed and written. Mm-hmm. I liked that the hearing aids were used as like a weapon against the creatures.
The end of the movie,
yeah. Which is kind of ironic because the creatures have ultra sensitive hearing. She is hard of hearing.
Yeah.
And so the middle ground, I guess, is like the hearing aid.
Yeah.
The
middle ground would just be a regular person being able to hear. But
like I guess her with a hearing aid. Would be the middle ground.
Yeah.
And so, and then the hearing aid just amplifies everything for the creatures, so then their ears explode.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool, kind of clever. And just how they showed what the characters had to do to stay alive, how they had to communicate, how they had to go about their day without being caught or, detected.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool too. Is there any negatives that you would give, or anything you were hoping for, or wanted to see, didn't see?
I really can't think of a whole lot, honestly. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the creature horror genre.
Yeah.
But this one did it really well, and this one did it near perfect, to the point where, I don't know, in this type of an environment, this type of a world that they're living in.
Yeah.
This is pretty much exactly how people would be acting.
Yeah.
So we're a little over a year into this world that they're living in. It was day like 472 at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And so at this point they pretty much know what's going on. they know that these creatures are sensitive to hearing, sensitive to sound, right. And they live their life by that. Like they try to live their lives the best that they can with, without having to speak, which is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Not being able to talk very much. But so I don't know, there's really not a whole lot of negative things I could really say about this movie.
Right.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, I have a few negatives. Mm-hmm. They're pretty minor negatives. One of them is just kind of funny. But the first thing, probably the biggest negative, is the fact that there's electricity in the movie. Because we're over a year into this apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that electricity would still be around. I don't think PG&E is still operating. For any of you outside of California, you probably don't know what PG&E is.
Well, it's the Pacific, so
or the
states on the
yeah. Well, maybe you do because of their issues with the fires that started.
Yeah,
and all that. So
yeah.
Anyways, there's no electric company operating anymore, I would guess. So they had lights, and he was using certain electronic equipment with making some of the hearing aids and stuff. So I didn't, I mean, maybe they had like a generator that lasted. It's like everlasting generator.
Yeah, everlasting. Yeah. Duracell.
Yeah. Just keeps going. So I don't know. Maybe there's an explanation that I missed, but I that was one of the first things I noticed.
Maybe some of the stuff is ran by batteries because the little boy in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah, he had that toy.
he had that toy that made a lot of noise that was obviously ran by batteries. So
Maybe
some of it could have been battery.
Maybe they just had
operated.
an abundance of batteries.
They could have. Hey, and when it first started, they could have gone
Yeah, stocked
shopping.
up on the
stocked up
batteries.
on everything.
Yeah.
On everything.
Yeah, on everything. Yeah. So yeah, I could see that. It's possible. So and then there's this part that's kind of just funny. So the dad. This is a spoiler, by the way.
Spoilers.
This is a spoiler for the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The dad, John Krasinski. He witnesses his two kids. They're in a truck, and the creatures are all around them, and they're, about to die. And so he decides that he's going to yell so that the creatures come and attack him and kill him instead.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saving his kids' lives. So how he chooses how to yell is like this. Like, what is that? To me, it sounded like he was like a caveman who had no language and just that's what he did to like call out for his tribe or something. It was like a mating call or something. It really was like just like what? Why would that be what you would do? Like, why wouldn't you be like, hey, or come get me? Some sort of like with your regular voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It was really, really weird way for him to yell. And it just made me laugh.
And that's not a very funny scene in the movie.
No, not a very funny scene, but it made me laugh, and so I'm going to give that a negative because it didn't affect me, I think, the way that they wanted it to. So, I mean, those are the two negatives that I would say. Didn't hold anything back, really, from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it made the movie bad.
Yeah.
It didn't like last throughout the whole movie, either one of those.
Yeah.
Electricity was just in a few scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if it really made that much of a difference, but, I had to point those couple of things out.
I don't know, in a movie like this, where it seems like everything is put together in a certain way,
Yeah.
I feel like the electricity thing could easily be explained at some point. Because that's kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, you have electricity a year into this apocalypse, like you were saying. And this is a movie that is very detail-oriented
Yeah.
with everything, except for that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they could have done a simple explanation for that in the movie. Like, there could have been...
And there might be in the second one,
Like
because there's going to be more people involved in that one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there could be more of a
Yeah.
reason as to what's going on here
Right.
with this electricity nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, they could have showed, like, a shelf full of batteries.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, and, maybe I missed it. Maybe there was a little subtle, piece there that I missed.
I didn't pick up on it if there was either.
Yeah.
So
All right, so what are you giving this for a grade?
So this one I'm going to give a solid B.
All right. So you're stealing my grades again.
Well, when you've got a A through F grading system, it's kind of hard not to.
Yeah, and this one I think everybody liked this one.
Mm-hmm.
So a B is fair. But from now on, I think I'm just gonna let you go first on the grades, and then I'll just change mine
Oh, okay.
based off of what you give.
So if I give mine a B, you'll give yours a B minus, a slightly worse score.
or slightly better.
Or slightly, yeah.
Yeah.
Go with
So
the B plus
you
route.
just never know. It's always gonna be different. Okay, so I'm giving it a B as well. We're both looking forward to A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for it to be a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it. It
Based-
doesn't really look like one from the trailer.
Based on how the first one ended, we didn't get a chance to talk about this earlier, but how it ends, the movie ends, it ends abruptly. It ends to a point where they could literally have just left it alone as a standalone,
Yeah.
and just let us use our imaginations as to what happens next, which I appreciated, because it turns out being like a kind of a getting ready to be an action movie,
Right.
where the hearing aid comes into play. They're able to take out one of the creatures with the hearing by using the hearing aid. It malfunctions, and the creature just like loses its mind, and the mom is able to shoot the creature,
Yeah.
and it kills it. And so they have it hooked. They have the hearing aid hooked up to a speaker,
Yeah. Yeah.
a sound system type of thing, which is drawing in the creatures.
Yeah.
You hear the creatures outside like making noise.
Yeah.
And she's got her shotgun ready, and then the movie ends. And I was
Yeah.
like, that is a cool way of ending this movie.
Really cool way. Yeah.
And so,
And it
making
was just like the mom and the daughter, they just kind of knew what to do.
yeah,
Like, she just kind of looked at her and gave her like a nod, and then she'd like put the hearing aid to the speaker, and it was like they just were in sync.
Yeah.
You know? It was
Yeah.
pretty badass.
it was. And so having A Quiet Place 2, I feel like it kind of. I don't know where they're going with it, because I know part of it's going to be a prequel, part of it's going to be a sequel to A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the movie starts with how The Quiet Place 1 ended.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, I'm just confused as to what they're going for with A Quiet Place 2.
The next one.
Because I feel like, and they've done this with they did this with The Walking Dead, where it's the people in the world around them that are becoming more of the bad guys than the actual creatures themselves.
Right.
And I feel like that's where they're going with the sequel, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if having it focus more on the creatures was what made the first one really cool, really good.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, focusing on the creatures and having to completely change your way of life to adapt to survive
yeah.
was what was cool. And now from the trailer, it looks like, yeah, there might be more of a threat of actual people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know, taking that into consideration when going in to watch it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just hope it's a horror movie, not a sci-fi action
Yeah.
movie, because that's what it looks like to me. And I mean, even this one could be considered a sci-fi thriller.
Yeah.
Or, you know, horror, I guess, is a subjective genre, anyways. So
Yeah.
I don't
why
know.
I like doing this horror podcast.
Yeah.
It lends to a lot of different genres of
Right.
movies that we can talk about.
Definitely.
So,
Okay, so remember to check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts. I just
Google
saw that we're
Podcasts.
on there. Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know Google had podcasts.
Neither did I, but they do.
All right.
You can find us on Facebook at Scare Talk Podcast. And please give us a review, give us a comment, give us a message, something so we can kind of see how we're doing, because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. We've had a podcast for about a month now.
Yeah.
And
They're just talking. Like, we literally go into this with not discussing the movie together at all, and then we just talk.
Yeah.
So, you know, is that format working? I don't know. But, so yeah, let us know how we're doing. Give us recommendations if you want, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That would be cool. And so yeah, this has been Scare Talk.
sleep tight.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.